to save a life. Find the hero in you.
This is Rogers TV.
So you don't stop laughing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop laughing. And that's a quote by George Burns. One of the best youth serums out there is laughter. It has a positive effect on many things: overall health, wellness, our stress level, digestion, and believe it or not, even how we appear. Now, authorities, including no less Robert Holden, who is the founder of the Laughter Clinic and the Happiness Project in the UK, concurs with that. So I get it. There's many changes that happen as we go through menopause that can be worthy of a good cry, sometimes cause much stress, and it would be so easy to lose our sense of humor. However, my friends, dig deep, since now, just like exercising regularly, had to get that in there, enjoying a really good laugh and working those lungs is really important. And it can really help us have such a good chuckle. So with too many benefits to mention, some include the fact that a good laugh eases our tension and stress. It gives those stress hormones within us a good fight. It helps our body relax. It helps boost our immune system. From digestion to stress and so much more, it's got you covered. So how can you leave today and add more laughter into your life? Real, genuine, hearty laughter. Who do you know that's positive that you can be around, that always has a smile on their face? What can you watch that makes you laugh out loud? Get creative and get laughing so that you can continue sparkling. And I'm really excited about today's guest expert. She is Amy Sloan. She drove here all the way from Hamilton, actually. And she calls herself a humor enthusiast, which I love that. I personally think she's far more than that because I've seen her in action on stage. She's a talent. She's really, really good. She is a mother of 3+2. She's a wife. She's an RPN. She works with the older community and absolutely loves it, and I'm sure is very good for them. So Amy is my guest today, and I'm really excited that she's here. So here we are for the Humour show, which I'm really excited about. And I'd love the guests to introduce themselves, and we can get into this conversation on how humor can really help us through menopause. Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Sloan. I'm from Hamilton. I'm an RPN by trade, but I've also had a real interest in humor over the years. So I've done lots of seminars about humor and resilience. I've done some stand-up comedy, just lots of research about how humor can sort of help us be more resilient, enjoy life better, thrive. And so I'm really excited to be here to share some of those ideas.
Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
I'm Teresa Carrier. I am a personal trainer and a life coach. And like Amy, very excited to be here today and sharing some of our experiences together.
And I'm Brona. I host a show on Rogers TV, LDNONT TV. I'm glad to be sitting next to the personal trainer because one of my best workouts is laughing. That's definitely good for the abs.
Very good for the abs.
Very good for the abs. So I'm excited to be here as well. Thanks.
Squeeze them as you say that. So, well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Now, typically we would have the guest expert, who is Amy, the enthusiast here for comedy. She's wonderful, by the way. She doesn't say exactly. She's absolutely wonderful. And then we have the panel afterwards. What we're doing today, we thought, being Christmas, hence the glass of wine, we would have a bit of fun and we would talk all of us together, because I think when it comes to humor, there can be a real big connection there. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm really excited about this particular episode. So let's start with you, Amy, because okay. I know that humor is your thing. I have experienced you and just very talented. You, not me. So why don't you start off by telling us a bit about yourself and really what took you or brought you into the world of humor?
Actually, I would say my mom. She was a psychiatric nurse for 50 years, and she actually had an interest in it before me. Her and her nurse friend Sharon used to do a lot of work around humor and anxiety. And so what they found was with patients who had anxiety, the jokes and sort of making sort of laughter happen during sessions or therapy would have people relaxing and sort of getting distracted from their sort of things they were worried about. And so they started to sort of do seminars and talks about humor and anxiety. So my mom sort of dragged me along for a few of those things. I was, oh, my watch is talking to me. I was pretty much handing out papers and stuff at the beginning, but then I started to learn a little bit more. And my mom actually ran a humor conference in Hamilton for about 15 years. And
Oh,
so,
you're kidding.
Yeah.
Are you going to start that up again?
Oh, I think we should. Yeah,
I
we
think
should.
so.
I'll put it on the
I
list.
will help you. Oh my gosh.
I'll put it on the list. So yeah, so I would say that's how I got started. And then about 20 years ago, I went up on stage at Yuck Yucks for amateur night, terrified, but it went really well. So then I sort of just kept doing it. And then over the years, I've done lots of sort of stand up and different things. And and now I find since COVID, working more as an RPN, I work in retirement. I use humor all the time, and it's amazing how it can make you feel connected and put people at ease, and just this kind of stuff, you know. Yeah. You can say it sort of promotes creativity and bonding, and there's so much good stuff about humor. So, hoping today we uncover some of the menopause humor.
I am hoping as well.
Hoping it's out there.
Yeah, you know what? We got to laugh or cry. So why not laugh? And I think that's the thing. Is there, when you look at the research and the studies, there is so much benefit to laughing. It's not just about a laugh is a good thing just to make you feel better. The health benefits are incredible. What I'd love to know from anyone is, when it comes to humor, when it comes to symptoms, things like that, have you found, when talking to people in your circles, have you found anything, you know, I take it, absolutely yes. So you take it, Teresa.
Well, as you know, I have 6 sisters, and we are all have gone through, are experiencing menopause, all different stages, because we're all different ages. And when we got together and started to talk about menopause and all the beauty behind it, it started off as a very serious conversation, because we were not feeling very good about ourselves, as most women know. And as we started to share those stories and experiences that we were dealing with, it became very comical. And it became really a contest of who had the most ridiculous menopause story to share. And I think, you know, turning something around that seems serious and can be dark from time to time, that we were able to make light of it and just have a good time, and knowing that we weren't alone in what we were experiencing. And that's always important.
And isn't that huge? Yeah. The biggest. Did you find that with 6 of you, say you've gone through symptom A, did you find that you all experienced it in the same way once you got talking about it?
Like most women, we all experience it differently, different intensities. And I did find that some suffered more than others. Some were dealing with, you know, having a glass of wine and experiencing the hot flashes, where some of us, the wine didn't bother us for our hot flashes. Good for us. So yeah, it was very different, similar, obviously, in the struggles, but certainly different as far as how severe the symptoms were from one sister to the other.
Very interesting, very interesting. Brona, have you found in any way, would you say that, this is sort of putting you on the spot, but would you say that humor has been able to make things any easier for you? You seem to me, so we've been having wonderful conversations behind the scenes before this began today. And I almost wish that could have been recorded itself, because it's been, you know, when it's not being filmed and we're free with what we say, it's been really, truly interesting. But the laughs that we've had, have you found in any way, like, you seem like a funny person. I mean that with respect.
My kids would never say that.
But you seem to have this really good energy, sense of humor about you. Is that how you always are? And have you found that helps you through?
It's gotta, like, I don't have a healthcare background, but I've spent a lot of times in hospitals because I'm a patient partner. And one of the reasons why I wanted to become a patient partner is because I had a wonderful experience in the hospital when my daughter died. And people often, I think it's a hard concept, but she lived for a very short time, and it was all in the hospital. But when you only have a little bit of time to live, you want her to experience everything, which we did. And so this was before COVID, obviously, we had friends and we had family and we had fun together. And this may sound ridiculous, but there was a lot of laughter at that time.
Wonderful.
And that is something I think anybody who's been through tragedy will tell you. Humor is a nice break from the grieving, and it is it's a part of our life. Sometimes you need to laugh because you said it during the outtakes as well, otherwise you would cry.
It's true.
Or sweat, whatever. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So that brings me to a question for you, mentioning, thank you for being so open about that. I think that's wonderful what you just said. But it brings me to the point that, yes, it is so good for our health and it's so good for what could be seen as tragic situations. Being an RPN, working in the area that you work in, do you find that humor helps?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, and I find, since I work in retirement, the clients, the community members at my work are all women who are way on the other side of all this nonsense.
But I hope they're going to watch the show.
Well, yes. And they're, and I've asked them what was menopause like for you, or, and they hardly remember. And I love that. They'll make the odd joke about hot flashes, but they're just so far past it that they have a whole new sort of existence. And I love that, and so they're making different jokes about getting older and stuff like that. But still, I think it's humor is like a lifestyle choice. It's a choice to kind of thrive, and sort of, it kind of brings more positivity. And even in the midst of it, I think Carol Burnett said, comedy is tragedy plus time. And, but I would say that some of the funniest stuff are right when you're right in the thick of it. If you have that bit of that perspective, a little bit of humor, especially if you're with loved ones or I can remember my cousins and my sisters and I having the most laughs in the limousine going to my grandmother's funeral. I mean, we were the pallbearers, the six of us, the six granddaughters. And I mean, we had to sober up to get out of that limo because everybody's going to think we're completely disrespectful. Here we are at going to Holy Sepulchre Cemetery, falling out of the limo because we were laughing so hard. And that was right in the middle of what was ostensibly a very sad occasion. But I still think of that and how my grandmother would have just loved that. She would have just thought that was a riot.
That's it. I think it's very important that people understand that too. I think you're not being disrespectful. I think it's such an important thing, and it does help people get through tragedy and things like that. I
actually had one, and I find too, for me, it's important to remember the moments and then retell them. Because like with the sort of sharing with the menopause stories, it's really important I can't remember a joke to save my life, like just straight joke. I'm terrible at it, but I can remember things people say. And sometimes I'll even put them in my phone or write them down. So I was in a community member's suite at work, and she was putting up all these Christmas decorations. I think she was 92 or something. She's putting up all these Christmas decorations in her bathroom. And I said, wow, you're really doing it up in here. Yeah. And she said, well, I spend most of my time in here. So I think this is where I'm just gonna set it all up in here. And I thought that is hilarious. And I might not have remembered it had I not specifically said, very funny, keep it in mind. And I think that's the good stuff about humor, that the stories get repeated over and over. And when you're with family, you can hear the same story 30 times. You just go tell it.
It's true. It's very true.
We need it. Yeah.
And I think especially with menopause or aging in general, I think it could be and is really for a lot of women so stressful. There's really not an awful lot to laugh about when you think about it. If you were just to look at it on paper about the symptoms and what we go through. But that's where I think and that's what I hope this show will do, is get people thinking that way. Whether they just are laughing with themselves, but get a group of girlfriends together, or we'll talk about sort of the ways that people could laugh, inject laughter. But I think to get through certain symptoms, I think it could be very, very helpful. Now, do any of you find, getting personal here, are you struggling with any symptoms in general? And does humor help you through?
Amy made a comment about how some of her clients that she works with have forgotten how menopause felt. Well, my 3 daughters know exactly how menopause feels. I'm making it very clear. And so, yes, you know, the night sweats, we actually ended up, my husband and I, he's going to love this story. And hopefully we can talk about sex and menopause. But, oh, yes. But we actually ended up getting a king-size bed because every time he would roll over, I'd hear him say, "Holy moly," as he rolled into my puddle of sweat.
Oh my God.
And he said, "That's it." After a year or two, he said, "That's it. We need a king size bed." So yes, my daughters certainly know about menopause, but I think I hope that we're teaching them is, regardless of what your struggle is, that friends are important, laughter is important, and there's always a way through it. So, I'm making it very clear that they will remember my menopause.
Which is good as well, because I mean, that's what we've been talking about in previous episodes, is this is actually a younger woman. It's always been thought that, you know, you don't even need to think about it until it hits you. Right. Whereas now the research is showing, or the research has shown for a while, I guess, but it's actually no, younger women need to know and prepare so they know what the heck they're going to experience.
35. It's coming for you. 35.
And to know that it's part of your body changing, and it's not you losing your mind because your kids are driving you crazy, that your body is really figuring things out on its own and you have no control. So, that's
right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't seem like a laughing matter, but laughter is definitely going to be what brings us through in a big way. Does anyone have any fun when it comes to symptoms? And again, getting personal perhaps, but does anyone have a particularly funny story when it comes to symptoms?
I'm just keeping I don't know, it sounds ridiculous, but I was kind of hoping that I was going into menopause, but apparently I'm not. I know, for financial reasons, for many reasons. I know, right? Like, I had symptoms, but they're like, no, that's not what that is. But, you know, it's common for me too. I'm going to be 51 on my birthday coming up. So, but I have acne that I never had when I was a teenager, right? And it's not pleasant for sure, right? Like, pimples are not fun, but like, I feel like I'm aging backwards. Like, it makes me feel kind
and that's what they say is puberty in reverse.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah. And it gives me license to act, I don't know, immature. Or more immature.
Any excuse we get. Well, our previous episode was all on skin, just to put a plug in for that. We're going to go to commercial in a second, but that's a great place to end because I agree. I'm getting spots before, like I've always had lovely skin, and all of a sudden I wake up and there's a pimple here and a pimple there, but they say it's so you're very normal. It's puberty in reverse, literally.
Lovely.
First person that ever called me normal.
So on that note of her being, feeling good now about the fact she is normal, we're going to go to a break and we'll see you back in a minute.
Hey kids, it's time to talk with Santa. On Saturday, December 18th and Sunday, December 19th, we've got Old St. Nick himself live in studio taking your calls. Tune into Rogers TV and call 519-672-1313 to talk with Santa and tell him what you'd like for Christmas. Don't miss your chance to talk with Santa, December 18th and 19th at 6 p.m.
I'm a singer-songwriter from Six Nations, and I've been writing songs about my experience, and with that being said, it's helped me hold hope in my heart in following my dreams and being resilient to everyday Indigenous battles. Competition between spirit, earth, and wind, let me tell you now. This song in particular, The Shiner, is a special song that I wrote for my grandfather. He was a snow snake maker, and that is a Haudenosaunee winter sport. It's my job to educate and to share, and the music allows me to do that.
He'll be shining snow snakes and mud cats to the end of his days.
I'm like, this is the one. Yeah, I know. This is it, baby.
So why do you want to go through menopause?
Cheaper. It's cheaper.
Why is it cheaper? I'm finding I'm spending
buying more tampons. I'm tired of buying.
Oh, yeah, but you spend lots of money then seeing other people because you're going, okay, pelvic health woman, and okay, person over here and person over there.
Really? I honestly thought
Pelvic health woman sounds very powerful.
Yeah, she sounds.
She is amazing.
We're gonna do that next Halloween.
I am, and you saying about sex because I want to do I've done a Facebook live interview with her. She's a pelvic health physio. She's just an incredible one. So I've done that with her, but I haven't done a TV yet. But I want to because I want to make that topic where women don't have to go. Let's talk about sex because there's so many women that struggle with sex.
Huge, and it can destroy a relationship. And it's definitely worth the conversation.
So that's going to be a conversation for next season.
It can be.
If Becky thinks that we could. Oh, so perfect.
Yeah.
Let me put my wine glass down because it looks like I'm a bit of a drunken.
No, mine is the smallest, I think.
But no, we were joking about the fact that talking about skin and as if it isn't nasty enough. And somebody's playing a game with us because it's like, oh, you know what? Just when they don't get periods anymore, let's give her something to complain about. And then we get skin stuff. And it can't just be like hidden up here under the hair. It's got to be on the edge of the nose or under the chin or something. There's never, it's like, come on, seriously. But
get the Oxy 5 out, but it's the Oxy 50.
It's so
it has added emollients to fill in the cracks around the pimple, and oh my gosh,
I had my kids when I was older though. So my oldest, I had her when I was 35, and my youngest when I was 40. So we're almost like going through the same time, right?
Yeah.
Oh my! Do you have the same where how going through puberty, some kids have a bit of an attitude. So has your attitude come back?
I don't think my attitude ever left. It's stuff like this my whole life, right?
But it's stuff like this. Like we're sitting here and we're laughing. We're having a great I hope you all think it's great. I think it's a great conversation. Okay, other than Amy, we're all having a great conversation. But I don't know if you're feeling it. We're laughing, and I don't know if I was writing something recently about humor and health, and when is the last time you can think you had a really good conversation? A really good laugh. And I think we get into a group like this, and not all of us know each other very well, and yet you have a laugh and you just feel so good. You really do. I think there's something to be said for that. Do you find any of your clients that you work with, do they have any nuggets of wisdom to offer when it comes to either aging, menopause, just in general?
Well, I had a community member who was 93, and we were talking about, getting older, whatever. And she said, how old are you? And I said, well, I'm 51. And she just got this faraway look and said, I loved my 50s.
Oh.
And I just got goosebumps. The way she said it, it was just, she said, you're less worried about the kids, so you kind of start doing your own thing. She said, I ended up curating a little museum in our town, and I just found that I just had more time. And the way she talked about it was just like, it was the most wonderful. And I thought, I can't wait to do that, to look back and say, she was just so sincere about it,
That's right.
And I think that the wisdom is, it's in the retelling and, hearing people's stories and the details of people's lives, And I actually watched an episode that you did. I can't remember her name. She was beautiful. She was like a prana. She was like a Eastern wisdom lady. Fabulous. On your show, dark curly hair, beautiful.
Oh, Chantal.
Even her name is.
I know. Chantal Diashina. Chantal, she's a yogi. She's just a
she had a
wonderful
zen.
person.
She had everything. She was everything I'm not. She was just wonderful to watch her. So she was saying something about how the 4 stages of sort of womanhood is like I can't remember. So girl, maiden, woman, and then crone.
And
I thought,
I know
crone.
I agree.
However, I think maybe we should just take that back. I think crone is wise. Crone doesn't put up with any
That's
nonsense.
right.
Crone doesn't worry about what men think. Crone goes, yeah, so what? My stomach's sticking out. Deal with it. Like, I think crones actually have a great thing going on, and we should maybe embrace it a little bit more than be afraid of it, you know?
We said it here, crone.
Crone power.
And it's interesting because on that very, very episode, when she said the word crone, I said, oh, crone, that's a bit of a, and so we then had a whole conversation about that, because in some cultures, I'm so glad you brought that up, because in some cultures, especially the Japanese culture, the older you become, the more respected you become. Like, they are totally put on a pedestal because they bring the wisdom, which the crone, that's what the crone embodies in that, the journey that you just mentioned. And so because of the wisdom that we bring along with us, which I know there's people in my world that might not think I bring wisdom with me. I left it in a suitcase somewhere. But they are so, there just is no word for, sort of that older person that's set in with a negative connotation. Whereas in our culture, it's so different. And I think as well, that would make it so much easier on us if we were looked in, and perhaps it would change how we view ourselves. And good point. But yeah, I love the fact that I think, we said it here today. I think the word crone.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I work in retirement. I mean, everybody's 85.
Yeah.
And they're so funny, and they've just got such good stories. And you ask them where they got their sweater, and they say, well, that was the last thing I bought at Eaton, so that's how old that is. Everything is kind of like, they're just so more accepting of, and they're so gracious and graceful. And I kind of can't wait to be at that. I mean, I can, but when I see it, I see the sort of positive way they go about their business. I think it's going to be...
Don't you find that, though, as we're getting older, like you feel like you're entitled to speak your mind?
Yes.
And you've earned the right to, if you don't like something, that you can say something.
Yeah.
So when I approach my 50s, getting closer to my 60s, thinking, okay, this is a time, man. This is a time, like you say, the kids are grown now. They're looking after themselves, have a little bit of freedom, and then bam, menopause. Damn it, I was so close. So you want to take this time, instead of being in misery, turn it around and say, I know you're not going to get me.
Yeah.
You're so right.
You're so right. I'll do whatever it takes to get myself through this, because I've earned the right to be here. I've earned the right to enjoy myself. And I've worked damn hard. I'm going to have a little bit of time for myself. So that's why I'm fighting this with tooth and nail. It's like, when I started menopause when I was 43, I'm now 58, so do the math. And I remember going to my doc, who's amazing. And I said, how long is this going to last? Because I was going through hell. And he said, it could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. I'm like, no friggin' way am I living this way for 15 years. It's not going to happen. And here I am, almost at that point. But thankfully, I've figured out some pieces to make life bearable and to enjoy myself again. And this is part of it. It's just being with you gals. And like you said, we haven't known each other, but they're like my best friends now. But
there you go. Well, besties. There you go. You have just made her year. You really have.
It's just that moment, where you say, you know what? Like you say, life is short, man. I don't want to be in my 80s saying, my 50s were great. I want to be in my 50s saying my 50s were great.
Oh, what a wonderful point, Teresa. That's a brilliant point.
Well, thank you.
Might have
It's
to
just
use that
interesting
somewhere.
coming from like the professions that I've worked in. So I was a lawyer, like I'm trained for, like I went to law school. I worked in law for a while. And also I was in politics for a long time as well. Now, like, I don't know if we bring sexism into the conversation here, but like a lot of people who are like running big countries like that are close to Canada are like much older than us, but they're a different gender than us. Like, I almost feel like I am just I'm working my way up to this. Like maybe by the time I hit 80, people are going to start voting for me.
You'll be the mayor of everything.
Could happen. Like stranger things have happened. Right?
I would vote for you right now, today.
That's right. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, I think you're right. I think it's I don't even know where I'm going with that one.
You're starting to get traction.
Oh
at this
my
point,
gosh.
right? You're finally figuring things out, thinking,
Big
okay,
time.
I think I got some stuff figured out.
Taking up your space, not worrying so much about what people think about you, saying no, actually I can't do that, I don't have the time, sorry, and not feeling guilty about it, or like not asking people for permission to exist. I think it's just I feel more in my body and in my mind now than I did when I was younger. I was kind of like, didn't want to look stupid or afraid of, what my appearance looked like all the time. And now I feel a little bit like, I don't mind being a bit invisible. I don't mind it because it's like, you just worry about yourself and I'll worry about myself, It just feels a bit more powerful to be in this body at this time.
Very liberating to not think everybody has to like you too.
Oh gosh, absolutely.
Right. Now this is who I am. This is what you got. If you don't like it, well.
That's right. I'm going through menopause. If you don't like it, that's your problem.
I sweat like this now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And then I think there's invisible and invisible. I think there's the beauty of being able to just sit back and let the world happen because you're comfortable with that and you're loving being the observer for a while. And then there's the invisible where I think sometimes women feel they hit this age, they hit menopause and they have no value because my ovaries, I love that quote that a woman is not her ovaries, but the ovaries aren't working or needed and therefore I am worthless anymore. And that's what I want women to understand is that's so not the case. It's all like this really is a time to thrive because of all that we bring to the table. And I think getting together with friends like this and having conversations and being able to laugh about everything is so important as well on a regular basis. Now, you were talking about, which really stuck with me, resilience, how your mom had worked and offered workshops or programs to do with humor and resilience. I know resilience, obviously, I take it from you that it's sort of a topic that you feel strongly about too.
Yeah.
How do you feel in your mind that the two go? For someone listening that's like, how do they go together or why would that make a difference?
Well, I was saying earlier that our response to stressful situations depends on whether we see stressful situations as a threat or as a challenge. And humor helps us, gives us perspective to see situations as more of a challenge. It kind of gives us a little distance between us and the hard thing. People say someday we'll laugh about this. That's the whole thing where, it gives you the perspective to go, this is horrifying right now. However, at some point, this could even be funny. This could be, I could be telling this story 20 years from now, and I'm going to lose all the hard parts about it, and it's just going to be a story. And it makes you think, well, then I'll get through this. I can see the future. You have that perspective, that sort of humor. And so I think that is resilience is grit. It's getting through. It's going, I've been through stuff. I can get through this. I'm going to do it.
That's right.
I actually have a funny story, and it's more about aging, but I did a talk on humor and resilience in this little town north near Kingston called Glen Burnie. I mean, blink and you'll miss it. Just a little cutie. And so it was a seniors lunch and learn. So I was the speaker. And so everybody was a senior, lots of walkers and gray hair, and which is my favorite crowd. But they don't hear so well sometimes. And I started off the talk by saying, we're going to talk about humor and resilience today. Can anybody give me a definition of resilience? And this little old guy, Dapper Dan with the vest and the cane, he got himself up and he said, definition, people who were born in Brazil or they're from there.
Oh.
And I said,
that is so sweet.
Yes, that is a definition of resilience, but I'm talking about resilience, and I'm sure people from Brazil are very resilient, but it was just, and he just looked at me and sat back down like he had answered the question and he was good for the day. Yeah. So those kind of moments happen all the time with, a certain population, and it's brilliant. It's so fun. It just adds to it for the next time, So I think, humor and resilience is a huge topic. There's lots of science around humor and laughter, and how, laughter decreases our stress hormones like cortisol, epinephrine, dopamine, increases endorphins. So there's actual physical responses to laughter, which can help us be more resilient, help us face situations. And hormones like the cortisol, I think anything we can do to decrease that, that dude is a good thing. So, yeah.
And people will be happy to hear, maybe if they don't like exercise, which I know that's our thing, but if they don't like exercise so much, maybe they might actually think, well, I'll just laugh a lot.
Laughter workout.
Work my core.
Laughter workout.
Laugh a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to take another break, but I'm just loving these conversations right now. So stay here.
My name's Ranger M, and I work at Catfish Creek Conservation Authority. I'm the community outreach technician, and that means I do a lot of this, chatting about all things nature and conservation with kids, adults, teachers, everyone. I love to knowledge share, and that's just what I'm going to do with you. So come on, let's go learn with Ranger M.
When an impaired driver killed my brother DJ, some people used the A word. They called it an accident, but it wasn't. An accident implies that no one was at fault. But when someone impaired by alcohol and/or drugs chooses to drive, they're fully responsible for the crash that can result. So please, for the memory of my brother DJ and the thousands of families whose lives have been shattered by impaired drivers, let's drop the A word.
A crash caused by impaired driving is not an accident.
Jean-Marie! Fire! The neighbor's farm is on fire! It's almost to the road! It's heading for us!
Help me get the animals out of the barn!
The fire's getting closer!
I'm on the horse!
The house is burning!
Get out to the river! Get up!
We can't leave everything! Careful! Don't fall!
Come on! We have to hurry!
Hurry! There's the river! We're going to make it! I can't swim!
Yes, you can!
Hurry! Hurry!
You must get in!
I can't!
Watch out for Spark!
His hair's on fire!
Keep their hair wet!
In May 1870, fires raged along the Saguenay River for more than 150 kilometers, destroying land and lives. One family survived by dousing themselves all night against the searing heat. One family, among the thousands whose resourcefulness and courage shaped the character of this land.
I think there is something to not taking yourself so serious. And I don't point at anyone.
Yeah.
I definitely don't take myself seriously. But I think there's something to not taking ourselves seriously. Eh?
Somebody said that you've reached true maturity the moment you laugh at yourself.
Oh, I've been laughing for years. I'm obviously so mature, which many people will question that one. But anyway, yes. So why don't we have a bit of fun, if you want to call it fun, with symptoms? We
the 34 symptoms of menopause.
Only 34 symptoms. Let's start maybe with, we've done previous episodes, so let's start with, we can talk about any of them, but previous episodes, this could be extremely funny, I guess, had been general, but we talked about pelvic health. We also talked about nutrition, because we know that there's actual benefits to our digestive system by laughing. We've talked about skin, and we've talked about de-stressing. I mean, there's such a myriad of symptoms. Why don't we get into the conversation about how perhaps humor could take us through some of those? Let's start with Hot flashes. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
Ladies?
Lots of hot flashes, night sweats.
Yes.
You know, it's funny because one of the things we want to do when we're going through menopause is to exercise, because they tell us that, you know, the production of endorphins and it's going to make you feel good about yourself, which is all true. When you experience night sweats and you're sleeping maybe 2 or 3 hours a night, and you're getting up and then you have to exercise, and you're saying, there's no way I have the energy to do that, the motivation to do that. So it's trying to figure out, how do you function on 2 or 3 hours sleep? And that's a real issue.
You cry a lot.
And you do cry. I remember watching television, and a commercial came on with the bears and the toilet paper.
Oh yes.
Very.
And I started to cry. Because I remember when my kids were young and they needed help. And my husband's looking over, looking at me, like, what are you doing? I said, you don't find this so sad? Like,
what's wrong with you?
It's a bunch of bears with toilet paper. But for those women out there, I mean, emotionally, because you don't have the sleep that you normally do because of the night sweats. And again, like you'd mentioned, you look back and you laugh at it now, but at the moment, it was so touching. And so something that meant so much to me, and it just brought tears to my eyes. And that's it. You start crying for no reason. I mean, it's those hormones that are jumping up and down, but you do have those moments where you do laugh about what happened to you. So yeah, regardless of the symptoms, you can always come up with a funny story, or look back and say, oh my God, I can't believe that's how I responded or reacted.
Yeah.
Like talking about exercise too. So I am a runner, not like I can't run long distances anymore because of levels. Like I got a bad back, I got bad feet, whatever. But maybe someday, right? And keep continuous improvement, right? Maybe I'll get back to marathons at some point. But I love to run all year long, right?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I love it when it snows, I don't think people, when they get to be, you know, a little bit older, actually go outside a lot, like when your kids are bigger, and just have fun in the snow.
You're right. You're right.
So when I get an opportunity to go for a run in the snow, it's not going to be a fast run. It's not going to be a personal best by any means, but it's like, this is my opportunity to be a goofball in the snow, and there might be a wipeout, but like, you know, safely, right? Like a fall.
But you could laugh about the wipeout.
But like, yeah, well, some of them with all the arms in the slow motion and everything, but you don't want to hurt yourself. But like running in the big piles of snow, when do people our age actually take advantage of just goofing around in the snow? Like when your kids are not small anymore, but like it's so fun. Every year I look forward to like these giant snowbanks. We're not getting anywhere. It's not actually technically running. It's mostly like just moving through the snow. But it like you gotta take those opportunities to kind of find some joy.
Sounds fun.
And you listen to you. We're meant to be best friends right now because I'm a snow walker and I can't wait. Well, we're gonna have to talk. So, and we don't want to leave you out.
No, it's
so
okay.
You're in there too. So, but this is. What I love about this is we're watching you talk about that, and you're grinning from ear to ear, and you're just so enthusiastic about it. You know, again, coming back to the fact that conversations with girlfriends or friends in general are just so important. I think you're right. I think if more people could find, maybe this show will allow people to sit and think and go, all right, what does make me laugh? What would give me fun and pleasure? What would allow me to sit with a group of friends telling them about something I do that would make me just ooze enthusiasm? And I think that's important. When did we stop having fun? I can't say for everyone. But as adults, when did we stop having
goofiness,
fun?
You know? I was on a walk with my dog last winter, just remind me of this, and we were, and he's a little guy, he's like a half Bichon, half poodle, and there was a lot of that dusty kind of snow, and he's, you know, plowing through the snow, eating it, loving it, just, and so I'm watching him, and it was just the cutest. And then I videotaped him sort of crashing through in slow motion. And then I took that video and I put it to the Chariots of Fire soundtrack.
Oh, I love it.
And when I need a lift, I mean, just done, and the And he's just bounding through this. It's the best. And yeah, and I mean, it was just one of those things you think, well, I'm just going to do this quick. And then I probably watched that video 100 times. It's the best.
I'm relieved because I thought you were going to say you were going to start bounding and eating snow.
No, I don't.
So I'm relieved it went in that direction.
No.
It's the clean snow.
Yeah.
Down and eat the
You can eat the clean snow. Yeah, you can eat the clean snow.
I think that, and that's what, I think it's taking those moments. Something you said, I have something in my eye currently, so if I'm winking at you, so all of a sudden there's a reason for it. When you said to look at things that are happening that are either seem, devastating or a bit embarrassing, but know that we'll laugh about them in the future. I think that's so important for people to keep in mind. That could be a game changer, I think, with people to go, one day, this is pretty bad right now, but I am going to look back at it.
When you were talking about the snow, I thought you were going in the direction of hot flashes and enjoying running in the snow.
That could be helpful.
Oh, right.
And I face right into
Yeah.
And I think about, and I'm sure there's other women out there sleeping with the window open in the middle of winter or a fan on, and your partner, of course, is freezing.
Yes.
I think it would be hilarious to listen to a group of husbands talk about menopause.
The frozen ones.
An episode for next season.
That is already in the works. You wonder what their perspective is.
Yes.
On all of this, because life is changing for them as well.
Absolutely.
You
wonder. You don't care as much.
You don't care.
Wonder.
I'm not going to be sympathetic.
Exactly.
But it would be interesting to hear their perspective on what's going on in their life right now.
That's right. How they're having to maybe walk on eggshells a little bit. Nothing personal here.
Yes.
But, is it going to be wife A or wife B today? I'm just not quite sure.
Yes.
No, I think that's a really
how
interesting
can
point.
I get tonight?
Oh, yes. Good luck with that one,
Am I going to get a punch in the eye or am I going to get a completely different reaction to that? So, or a laugh. Maybe we'll just laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, you
that's
think?
the best case scenario. Yeah.
You think that's happening? I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're cute, but no. I was at the Tiger Cat game in Hamilton, a football game, and I find I have severe brain fog sometimes. So I had a coffee, and my husband was standing just with me, and I like to put a bunch of creams in it. So I was doing my third cream. So I open it and I pour the cream in the garbage, but not the coffee. And then I go to put the creamer into the coffee, and my husband just looks at me, and I look at him, and he's just like, I didn't see it. I didn't. And I just,
oh my goodness.
Wow.
He's a smart man.
He's a smart man. Just looked away.
God,
like,
that's
I wonder what that is up there. And I thought, that's right, buddy. You just look away. Don't worry about it.
Have you caught yourselves doing things like that where you are throwing something away or you're doing something 100%. And halfway through doing it, you think,
100% walking downstairs because I had something to do and just standing there.
I have no idea.
Gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I'll go back upstairs and figure it out again.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is worth laughing about, really, when you...
Or, like you say, or crying.
Or crying,
yeah.
one or the other. You could do one or the other. I'm reading, I don't know if anyone has read Sanjay Gupta's book on the brain, because I'm looking for mine, so I'm very much into... I've always been interested in the brain. And he goes through in his book, because you could worry a little bit about the fact that something is happening, or maybe
early onset something.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes through. He says, "I'm gonna, these are the things that can happen to not worry about, and every single one is the brain fog. And
Hallelujah!
I can't remember somebody's name, and all of these things. Oh, check as we go through them. So it's very interesting that as we go through this, becomes a bit of a laughing matter in a way, because it just seems we can't really think straight half the time.
Yeah.
I think women are pretty darn resilient for what and men. I know there's men that struggle through menopause as well, but since this is geared towards
this is lady time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gal time. I think we're pretty darn resilient with what we do go through and what is thrown at us when it comes to these things.
I thought I was resilient, but now I'm from Canada, so clearly now I'm questioning myself.
There should be a statue made of you.
Funny women.
Just you.
Oh, just me?
Bringing us all together and making this happen.
Yeah.
you know,
you're
the
so
symbol of
sweet.
Resilience. Yes.
Oh my, oh well.
But it certainly is important for us to come together like this.
And you know what? Well, thank you for coming together, because I just think that's what this show. Thank you so much for saying that. No, we won't do a statue, but
maybe a plaque or something.
A bobblehead.
That right there,
a Timbit.
That would be it. That's Carolyn in a bobblehead. That would probably be pretty perfect. That's what it does. But I think that's what this was about, and it's really ironic. It's interesting you say that. So I wanted this show to be about bringing the experts in, and then bringing women in to also, because they're experts in their lives, on discussing each topic as we go through it, each episode. What I have found from the feedback, a lot of the feedback from women in my network I've been getting, is how they've loved listening to the experts, but they've actually really loved the panel part where they're just listening to other women like them talk and share. And that blew me away. I really didn't know it would have that effect. But I think, yes, to know that you're, I'm normal. Look at what Teresa Carrier is going through. She's going through it. I'm okay. Like, it's very soothing. Whatever the word is I'm looking for, that it's just gone. Heartening to know that we can get together with women all going through the same but different, and just all have a good old laugh about it.
Especially when everybody is so separated, for so long.
Yeah,
you're right.
Good point.
You're right.
I'd love to hug you all.
Good point.
It just kind of, to be able to bring people into, a little bit about your personal life. It just,
yes.
A lot of lonely. We got a loneliness pandemic as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's nice for me to be in a room with humans, some wine.
I was just going to say, do any of you find, or is this just what I'm suffering for? Because I'll get a look from people that I talk way too much now when I see people, because you're just so excited to be around them.
100%. There's so much to say.
That's right. There really, really is. When it comes to because I've seen you on stage and I just thought you were incredible. That's not just because you're my friend. I don't know if you admit that you're my friend, but I thought you literally were, a woman after my heart. I thought you were so good. That whole story that came about, I don't even know if you want to share it, about how you ended up on stage. At the, I can remind you if you like later, so we'll not talk about that. But anyway, let's start that one again. So let's go back to you, Amy, because I find you're, just as I've said before, you're a totally natural person. You've definitely got such a natural art to it. Is there anything in closing that you would say, or a piece of advice that you have, just to help people lighten up a bit, or to allow them to laugh a little bit more? Like, is there anything that you wanted to make sure you got out today that you haven't been able to yet?
I would say be brave in your casual connections, which means if you're just standing at a stoplight with somebody, be brave, say something, try to say something funny. If you're going through the cash, those little intimacies, I find, give us a boost. We kind of can float along on them, and it changes, it can change somebody's 5 minutes, but it also changes you. Like, it's a real reciprocal thing.
You're
so right. I was at a stoplight waiting for the light to change, and I saw this woman standing beside me, and she looked, kind of had a bit of a knot in her face, and she hadn't pressed the button, like the crosswalk button. So I pressed it, and then as soon as I pressed it, the car stopped. And I said to her, well, I mean, we're kind of old, but we can still stop traffic. And she just kind of looked at me, and it was nothing. It was a fleeting moment, but I still think of that, that, be brave in those little connections, because I think it can mean a lot to people, and it leads to sort of bigger connections on it's just more, there's more intimacy with humor. I find it really cuts through the me and you,
You're
I
right.
think it really it's such a visceral thing. It's like, so don't be afraid to try out your material. Like, if you think something's
and have
funny,
your child go again.
not for the kids. You know what? They have everything in the world. They don't need more. I mean, try, if you think something's funny, then be brave enough to say it out loud.
So thank you so much for being here. Been very grateful. And we hope that you've had a laugh today, and sort of some of this this has connected with you, and maybe you can sit and think about where you can inject a bit more humor into your world in order to make menopause more bearable for you. Thanks for being here.
Watch London Nationals hockey on Rogers TV.
Watch Sloan Nationals hockey at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
Watch London Nationals hockey at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
Watch London Nationals hockey at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
COVID-19.
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 The pandemic impacts our everyday lives, and the ripple effects of COVID-19 seem to change on a daily basis. Rogers TV keeps you informed about how the pandemic hits close to home with live coverage of the Middlesex London Health Unit and the City of London media briefings. Keep up to date on the latest in London and Middlesex with updates from Dr. Chris Mackey and Mayor Ed Holder. Watch the latest COVID-19 media briefings live on Rogers TV Mondays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. And for more information, check rogerstv.com.
And I'm excited to be the new host of LDN ONT TV. Join me and my guests as we discuss the topics trending here in London, Ontario. Tune in Thursdays at 6:30 only on Rogers TV.
So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I must admit that I was very excited about doing this one. There's nothing like getting a group of friends together and having a really, really good laugh. What are the ways that you can leave today thinking how you can inject more humor into your life? I'm not talking about stepping out of your comfort zone and making yourself feel uncomfortable, but there's nothing like putting a smile on your face, having a conversation, watching something that could make you laugh more. It has been proven time and time again how beneficial it is to our health. So how could you laugh a little bit more? And we know we get stressed when it comes to the symptoms with menopause. If nothing else, it can help with our stress hormones, why not give it a go? So thank you so much for being here today. I really hope that this has really injected some humor and sparkle into your day. So this is the last episode of this season 1, and I hope you found it interesting. We, I believe, just scratched the surface on topics. We are doing season 2. I would love to hear from you if you have thoughts on what topics we could cover. We have some ideas, but it would be great if you want to give us your input as well. I think there's an awful lot we could cover. If you would like to reach me, I have a website, coachcarolyn.ca. And if you head there, you can send me a message. You can look up all of the information about the Menopause Show. There will be much more added for the new year as well. So if there's anything that you want to offer, please reach out to me there and I'll be happy to get in touch with you. Oh, go? Yeah. Okay, sorry. All right.
And
welcome. No, sorry, I'll do that again, and go. Okay, this one I'll do circles so that you know it's coming up next. I don't know. A 1,001, 1,002, 1,003.
Just worn it. You
I
were so
realized
excited
I
to
said
get
that.
that.
I know.
And then you're like, what do I do?
I know. Okay. I'll do like this so you know that this is the one. And we hope that you've had a really blah, blah, blah show today. Did you want me to say that at the end?
Yes.
Okay. Is that all right? Yeah. That was just totally off the cuff. Look at that.
call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Mario Elia, and I'm the host of a new show here on Rogers TV that we're calling Keeping London Healthy with Dr. Mario. I'm a local family physician here in London, and I'm very excited to be working with Rogers TV on this new format, which will give us an opportunity to explore all sorts of topics related to medicine and health. So tune in Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. We'll see you then.
Gather your family and friends and join the Zoomer Players for a half hour of the greatest songs ever written.
Unforgettable. Why, it's almost like being in love.
Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. What's your favorite song? Well, you'll probably hear it performed on your all-time classic hit parade.
This is Rogers TV.